What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Saudi Arabia. We have Robert Whittaker going against Ikram Aliskerov. And yeah, this is a card that I think is cursed. We've lost so many fights on this card. We've had so many late notice replacements. And now I hear that the Kelvin Gastelum and D-Rod fight's going to be taking place at middleweight because Kelvin Gastelum couldn't make the weight. So, yeah, a lot of things going on with this card. I think right now we have 11 fights as of now, but that could even go down to like 10 or worse by fight time. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting card. I'm looking forward to it, but we've had a ton of changes thus far. Before we get into the video and break it all down, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find all my other content. I got the fighter stats you see on the Friday, Saturday shows, targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, prize picks article, prize picks entry, a lineup optimizer, and then the Draftkings article got posted last night. So trying to get everything out nice and early this week because we do have an early start time on Saturday. I think they're starting at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. This video is brought to you by Daily Grind Fantasy. If you guys are into prize picks and underdog, you guys should check out Daily Grind Fantasy. They take the lines from the sports books and give you the most plus EV plays on prize picks, underdog, and many other daily fantasy sites. If you guys want to check it out, use promo code DFSBDN and get 25% off your first month. The link is in the bio. And with all that out of the way, I say we get into the fight doesn't go to decision lines, and we're going to start with Gajilasulov Ribeiro, minus 800 for the fight doesn't go to decision. And yeah, this is the most violent fight on the card, according to the odds and according to my analysis as well. I think somebody's absolutely going to be getting served here. Brenson Rivero is a kill or be killed fighter who's been finished in 5 of his 6 losses, who has a 100% finish rate. Gajilasulov has finished, I think, 80% of his wins as well. So yeah, I think somebody's going down here. Gajilasulov actually the most expensive fighter on the card at 9,300. And yeah, I think if he does go out there and win, he's going to go out there and probably finish Ribeiro, whether it's by knockout on the feet or a TKO. And then Ribeiro at 6,900 is the cheapest fighter on the slate, unless they add Tricale cheaper. But as of now, he's the cheapest fighter on the slate. I think Ribeiro, if he's winning, it's a first-round knockout. So yeah, love this fight. I'm going to be targeting this fight very heavily, and I think somebody's getting served and served violently. Next, we got Sergey Pavlovich going against Alexander Volkov. The fight doesn't go to decision, is minus 350. And yeah, another fight that I do think finishes inside the distance. Sergey Pavlovich has, I think, 7 fights maybe in the UFC, and none of them have seen the second round. He hasn't seen a second round in a very long time, and yeah, maybe that changes here. And if it does change here, I do think it's going to favor Volkov. But with Pavlovich at 8,700, you have a guy with first round finish upside. You have a guy that if he's going to go out there and win, he's going to take off Volkov's head probably within the first couple minutes. And then as far as Volkov, he has a lot more ways to win, in my opinion. If this fight gets out of the first round, I think it heavily favors him. If this fight hits the ground, it heavily favors him. I'm personally picking Pavlovich to win this fight, but Volkov is certainly a live dog. But yeah, another fight where I think somebody's getting served on a card where I don't think there's a lot of finishes. I think these two up top are going to finish. Next, we have Robert Whittaker going against Ikram Aliskerov in the main event. And yeah, I love this main event. I love the prices of both guys. I think this could potentially go the distance, and if it does, I think it's going to be a Robert Whittaker decision. But Ikram Aliskerov, he's coming in here after supposing to fight Tricale last week in Vegas. And now he's having a 5-round fight with Robert Whittaker. We haven't seen Ikram in a 4th round and a 5th round, and even when we've seen him in the 3rd round, he kind of slows down. So I think I'm kind of seeing it Ikram early or Robert Whittaker late or by decision, and I think either one of those scenarios scores very well. I would not fade the main event this week. And then we got a weird one. We got Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir. This is a fight where, I don't know, it's like, I think this fight could either score incredibly good or incredibly bad. I mean, I could see this fight finishing within the first couple minutes. Could be an explosive first round where somebody gets finished, or I could see this fight just being the worst fight possible, the worst fight imaginable, a fight that goes the distance where both guys kind of stare at each other for 15 minutes. There's really no in between. So for that reason, I will have some, but I could see this fight just kind of sucking. So we'll see. Getting into the core plays, Number one core play of the week is going to be Rinat Fakhretdinov. I love Rinat this week. He's 9,200. He's going against Nicholas Dalby, and I think Rinat gets back on track here. He's going to be 7 years younger, and I think he has a lot of paths. On the feet, he has good striking with a ton of power, but where I think he's really going to win this fight is going to be the wrestling. This guy can wrestle. He can get control time. He can rack up maybe a submission at some point in this fight as well. But yeah, we've seen Dalby taken down by lesser wrestlers, like a Claudio Silva, like a Tim Means, guys like that. I think Rinat Fakhretdinov will have no problem taking down and holding down Nicholas Dalby across 15 minutes, maybe finding a finish along the way. And at 9,200, I think he puts up a big score this week. Robert Whittaker, 8,400. He's my favorite in the main event here. Ikram is terrifying. Ikram's been looking really good as of late, but this is a big step-up competition. Phil Haas, Warley Alves, Mario Souza on the Contender Series, and like I said, he was supposed to fight Antonio Tricoli. Like, this is the most astronomical fight, a step up in competition I've ever seen. Robert Whittaker, the chin is certainly concerning. I've been worrying about his chin for a while. He's been dropped a ton. He's been hurt a ton. But he's only 33 years old. I still think he has some left in the tank, and if he does not get finished in the first round, I think it's a fight where he should go out there and win pretty impressively as well. I think Ikram maybe early could hurt Whittaker, but if not, Whittaker should be able to take over as this fight goes on. I think he's going to have a lot more volume down the stretch, the better cardio, especially down the stretch, and I see Whittaker maybe getting a late finish or getting a decision across 25. But yeah, this fight, I struggle to see how this fight does not find its way onto the optimal lineup one way or another. Next, we got an interesting one. We got Sharyl Magomedov. He was 8,800, so originally he was supposed to take on Jolton Luderbach, and in that spot, I didn't mind Shara. I didn't mind him, but now Jolton Luderbach pulled out, and in steps on very short notice, a couple days short notice, Antonio Tricoli, out of all people, Antonio Tricoli. So now we are getting Sharyl Magomedov, who is 8,800 on DraftKings. Last time I checked, he was a minus 650 favorite on the money line, which would make him the biggest favorite on the entire card by a mile, which means he probably should be priced up like 9,600, 9,500 on the slate. So yeah, we're getting a steal here for Magomedov. I think that's something that cannot be ignored. 8,800. Going against Tricoli, I think he goes out there and gets the knockout and puts up a big score. So yeah, right off the bat, Magomedov with that late replacement becomes one of my favorite plays, if not my favorite play on the slate. And then Sergey Pavlovich, 8,700. I like the power, the knockout upside. I think he has a good chance to knock out Volkov, who is very tough and very durable. It's just, if this guy Pavlovich hits you clean, you're going to be going down more often than not. So unless Volkov can either survive the first 5 minutes or get the fight down to the mat, I think Pavlovich goes out there and knocks him out in the first round. 8,700 is not bad to me. Moving on to the GBP Plays, Magomed Gadzhirasulov, 9,300. We touched on this fight a little bit. There's not a ton of fights I think are finishing on this card. I'm actually picking the majority of these fights to go to decision, but this is one that I struggle to see going the distance. Minus 800 for the fight doesn't go to decision, like I said. And he's going against Ribeiro, who, I don't know, I feel like he lacks durability. He's a kill-or-be-killed fighter. He's a great hammer, a terrible nail. Like, I've seen Ribeiro end up on bottom, and he kind of just quits in his fights. He's been knocked out like 5 times, 4 times in round 1. Although I don't know a ton about Gadzhirasulov, there's only a couple fights available, and those fights we do have available, he's not fighting the best competition. He does seem like he has good striking, he does hit hard, he can wrestle. So yeah, Gadzhirasulov, he should go out there and beat Ribeiro and beat him probably in the first round. So yeah, 9,300, I don't think that's too terrible this week. Nasrat Haqparast, 9,000. I think he's going to be pretty low owned this week. He's going against Jared Gordon. I think there's some paths here for Haqparast to score decent. For one, I love the volume of Haqparast. He's landing almost 6 significant strikes per minute. And on top of that, I feel like Haqparast is live for a knockout here as well. Jared Gordon has 6 losses, 5 of which come by knockout. Even that Bobby Green no contest, he did get knocked out brutally. Of course, that was due to a head clash, but still, he's still taking a ton of damage there. And so, yeah, Jared Gordon, now 35 years old, has taken all that damage throughout his career. Haqparast going to be 7 years younger. I think there's opportunities here for Haqparast to win this fight by knockout in a pretty low ownership as well. I don't see many people being on Haqparast this week on DraftKings. Next, we got Volkan Oezdemir at 8,000. This is my preferred side in the Walker fight, just because Oezdemir is much more durable. That's not debatable. Oezdemir, I think, is going to be higher volume on the feet. Johnny Walker, I don't know what's up with the guy. It's like, he's completely like changed his style from when he first got into the UFC. He was this crazy, wild man, and now he's a lot more technical, a lot more patient, fighting a lot smarter, and I think a lot of that has to do with his durability. He can't afford going out there and being wild, or he's going to get knocked out. And he's going out there just being a lot more cautious, and he's still getting knocked out. He got knocked out by Magomed Ankalaev in his last fight. So I think that Oezdemir is live for a knockout here. I think anybody in the division's live for a knockout against Johnny Walker, who's been knocked out a million times. And then I think if this fight does go on and go to decision, I think Oezdemir could potentially win this fight just by landing more across 15 minutes. So yeah, I don't mind some Oezdemir at 8,000. It's an ugly fight. I kind of hate this fight, but I think on DraftKings it's semi-important. And then we got Moin Gafarov, 8,500, just because this is a guy that has a 94% finish rate, and that cannot be ignored. I think he has the second biggest finish rate on the card, right behind Brenson Ribeiro. And yeah, Kung Ho Kong, he's 36 years old at this point at bantamweight. Moin Gafarov is a guy that I was actually extremely high on when he first came into the Contender Series and then lost to Chad and Helliger. And I think I've pumped the brakes like a lot since then. But, I still think this guy's good. He's only 28. I think he's going to be improving. He's well-rounded. He has power. He can wrestle a little bit. So yeah, I don't mind some Gafarov, 8,500. I think he's certainly in play on a card where we don't have many options. Moving on to the live dogs, we got Chung Ho Lee, 7,900. I believe this is the first fight of the card. And Chung Ho Lee reminds me a lot of Brady Heastand in a sense that he is just relentless. Non-stop, relentless wrestler, looking to get the fight down to the mat. This is a guy that will attempt 20 to 30 takedowns if he needs to. He can be taken down in his own right, but he'll pop right back up, and then he'll take you down. Then yeah, that style in a win is going to score very well. Like if Chung Ho Lee wins this fight, I could see him being one of the highest scorers on the card if he's able to implement that game plan, which the game plan would be takedown after takedown, just wearing on you, getting on top, and maybe eventually finishing the fight via TKO. He has great ground and pound as well. So yeah, Chung Ho Lee is certainly a live dog that sticks out this week with that relentless grappling pace that I love from a DraftKings perspective. Next, we got Alexander Volkov, 7,500. Yeah, he has paths. He certainly has paths. Pavlovich is a terrifying human being, but, Volkov is going to be higher volume. He's going to probably have the better cardio. If this fight gets extended, it's going to favor him. If this fight gets down to the mat, he's going to have the most astronomical advantage you'd ever see. So, yeah, there are some paths for Volkov. I don't think Volkov should be ignored this week. I'm personally picking Pavlovich, but I think somebody's getting served in this one. Ikram Alaskarov, 7,800. Yeah, this is a guy that I do think is the real deal. I don't think this guy does not deserve this fight with Robert Whittaker. He's definitely getting fast-tracked, but yeah, I think he's live here. There's a lot of circumstances going against him here that I don't like, for sure, like the fact that he was supposed to have a 3-round fight with Antonio Tricoli. Now he's fighting Robert Whittaker. I don't like that. I don't like the gigantic step up in competition. I would like to see a step up, right, for Ikram. Now this is a massive step up. So I don't like that. I don't like the flight to Saudi Arabia from Vegas not too long ago. Yeah, so a lot of things going against Ikram here, but if he's winning this fight, in my opinion, it's going to be early on. It's going to be in the first round and a half of this fight. It's going to be him clipping Robert Whittaker, who's been clipped time and time again as of late. So, although I think if this fight reaches late second round, third round, I think it heavily favors Whittaker. Ikram has that early finish upside, and that cannot be ignored this week. And then kind of a low-owned live dog, I think this week is going to be Jared Gordon, 7,200. You look at Jared Gordon's fantasy scores, and when he wins fights, he scores incredibly. And if he's able to win this fight, which I think if this fight goes the distance, as long as Jared Gordon does not get knocked out, I think this fight's going to look extremely close. Jared Gordon's only lost one decision in his entire career, and that was against Paddy Pimblett in a fight where I think the majority of people thought that Jared Gordon won. So yeah, if this fight does end up going the full 15 minutes, Jared Gordon can put up a good score here, even like in a loss, but in a win, Jared Gordon could potentially even break the slate. Like, this is a guy that has great volume, and if he's able to implement the wrestling, the grappling as well, Jared Gordon can put up a big score here at a very, very cheap price tag. So I don't mind some shots on Jared Gordon. As long as the durability holds up, I think he's certainly in play. All right, let's touch on the Prize Picks play of the week. If you guys want to check out Prize Picks, use promo code DFSBTN, get a 100% deposit match up to $100. And the play of the week is going to be Rinat Fakhretdinov, less than a 94.5 fantasy score. So on DraftKings, I love Rinat Fakhretdinov this week, but on Prize Picks, it's a different story. And I love attacking these grapplers on Prize Picks, because on Prize Picks, I always say it, you do not get fantasy points for control time, which is massive, and you don't get fantasy points for non-significant strikes. So say Fakhretdinov goes out there, takes down Nicholas Dalby, and gets on top for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 minutes like he did against Brian Battle or Michailidis, and Renat's not getting a ton of significant strikes in that aspect. He's not getting a ton of control, or he's not getting any control time points as well. So yeah, I like Rinat Fakhretdinov less on the fantasy score. I think he wins by decision, which again is only 20 points on Prize Picks. So outside of an early finish, I think this soars less here. So if you guys want to check that out, promo code DFSBTN. Let's get into the pump plays. Really only one guy sticking out this week for a pump play. Brenton Ribeiro, 6,900. Killer be killed. These guys cannot be ignored on DraftKings. He's worth a little sprinkle this week. He does one thing well and one thing well only, and that's he hits very hard. So Brenton Ribeiro certainly in play at 6,900 as like a low-owned dart throw type play. And then the fade is going to be Kelvin Gastelum at 8,900. So it came out today that apparently Kelvin Gastelum cannot make welterweight. So they were talking about maybe making this fight being a catch weight at like 175, 180, something like that. And apparently he can't even get down to like that. So apparently this fight's going to be taking place at middleweight. So I don't like that. And then I don't like Gastelum on DraftKings. It's like, is he going to go out there and finish D-Rod? Probably not. Is he going to go out there and land a ton of volume and, get a ton of takedowns? Probably not. Is he going to score well? Probably not. So, completely fine fading Kelvin Gastelum at 8,900. And after hearing this news that he's not even close to making weight, like, what does that tell me? Like, does he even, taking this serious? Like, I don't know. So maybe if anything, I'm looking at D-Rod a little bit more now. So, yeah, but Kelvin Gastelum is going to be a fade for this week. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Again, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Going to be trying to get all that content out Thursday night at the latest. It's been a mess this week. Late notice replacements, fights getting called off, weight misses. Yeah, it's a cursed card. It's a cursed slate, but it's going to be fun regardless. I'm looking forward to seeing how many fights we end up with come fight time. So it'll be fun, guys. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.